Hi, I'm Dan Bonnebeck. This is a series of lectures, of videos, on the history of Christian philosophy. Why study the history of Christian philosophy in particular? Well, there are three reasons at least. One is that it concerns the basic ideas of Christianity as developed by its greatest thinkers. Perhaps you're a Christian and you're interested in developing your own worldview, understanding your own religion better. Maybe you're not a Christian, but you're interested in Christianity since it has, after all, been a huge force in world history. The ideas of Christianity have motivated all sorts of social and historical developments. And so, from that point of view, whether you're looking at Christianity from the inside or from the outside, there's a lot to study here that's valuable. The second reason is that the history of Christian philosophy is crucial to the history of philosophy in general. Introductory courses in philosophy often skip all the way from Plato and Aristotle to Descartes, Hume, and Kant. Aristotle died in 322 BC. Descartes wrote his Meditations in the 1640s. That is almost 2,000 years of history that's being omitted. How on earth did we get from Aristotle to Descartes? Descartes didn't just spring like Athena from the forehead of Zeus. Instead, there was a series of connected philosophical developments in between. Now, there are serious gaps in that development. Partly gaps in our historical record, partly real gaps where not a great deal was going on of great interest. But on the other hand, there were all sorts of important and interesting developments. Augustine and then Anselm developed the Platonic tradition in, to some extent, its highest possible form. And then Aquinas does the same thing with the Aristotelian tradition. So the history of Christian philosophy is, in large part, what happened between, well, not quite Aristotle, but within a few hundred years of Aristotle and then Descartes. It fills in a huge part of that gap. There are very important Hellenistic thinkers, important Jewish thinkers and Islamic thinkers who are also part of that tradition and help to lead from one to the other. But they come up naturally in the context of studying the history of Christian philosophy as well. Finally, you may be interested in the philosophical questions that arise and are central in the history of Christian philosophy. They're questions like, is there a God? How could we know whether or not there's a God? If there is a God, what is that God like? But also more general questions about the metaphysics of identity, for example, or about the nature of knowledge. There are deep questions about ethics. How should we live, together and as individuals? Those are questions that are crucial to the history of Christian philosophy. And some others emerge in the course of the history, growing in significance as time goes on. Do human beings have free will? Do we have anything like a soul? And if so, does that soul survive our death? Those are fundamental questions as well. And so we're going to see a series of great thinkers contemplate those kinds of questions during this period of history.